Okay, okay, okay. All right, all right, all right. Okay, all right, okay. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, all right, all right, all right, okay. It's time for the weekly track roundup, everybody. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. You know who it is, and I'm going to be going over what I felt were the best and worst tracks of this past week. Thankfully, we have bounced back from the holiday week last week where we didn't have many songs to talk about. This week, not only do we have a ton of tracks to talk about, but we have a lot of good tracks to talk about. This has been a pretty great week for singles, in my opinion. A lot of big and a lot of notable songs and fun, entertaining, enjoyable, inspiring songs have dropped. First, though, let me shout out our sponsor in this video, animator and illustrator, Mr. Joran Kull, who for the holiday season has released a new 9-hour epic, The 179 Days of Christmas. It's the official 179 Days of Christmas song, video, and a cute little endearing animation doing a little happy dance next to the 179 Days of Christmas. And yes, this is not some half-assed version of the 12 Days of Christmas where he just kind of pads the song out by repeating stuff and so on and so forth. Joran comes up with 179 separate things to celebrate for the 179 Days of Christmas. And they tend to get funnier and more hilarious as the song progresses forward. So we will leave a link to this video down below, as well as to Joran's website and to his Instagram. You may already be familiar with his work because he did those brief history of videos with Pitchfork a little while back. He's also done music video work for artists like They Might Be Giants. So the dude's been around the block and enjoyed quite a bit, at least what I saw of the 179 Days of Christmas video. Admittedly, I did not watch the whole thing. I was not man enough to do that, but Joran has told me to relay unto you if anybody for the holiday season is willing to withstand the 179 Days of Christmas challenge and listen through the whole thing, then you're a braver man than I. You're a braver man than I. So again, we will link to the video, the song, the animation down there in the description box. Also down there are our Amazon associate and Turntable Lab associate links. Holiday season is here. You need some presents for yourself or some other people who buy colorful pressings of records, some audiophile gear, turntables, speakers. Get them via that Turntable Lab link. We get kickback from it. Supports the channel, supports the segment. And also want to shout out this new Wavves Emo Christmas 2-track EP that has just dropped. If you're looking for some emo Christmas music to ring in the holiday season, give it a shot. Also want to give a shout out to the new Eminem 11-minute freestyle that just came out. I'm not going to really be going on about this freestyle in this video. I'm going to do a full-length sort of reaction/review on the Fantano channel very soon, so you can expect that there. Not going to bog this video down with a half-assed analysis of this freestyle right now. I'd rather kind of go over it second by second, line by line in a video with you guys. So let's get into the tracks that I thought were the worst of the week. Only a few, honestly, but they were pretty terrible. First off, Zayn has a brand new single out. I really do not enjoy Zayn's music, I guess. I feel like every time he comes out with a new single, it's garbage. And that's also true of this new track over here titled Rainberry. You know, honestly, there are some bits of this song that aren't that bad, but the bits that are awful are really so terrible that they ruin the entirety of the song. And Zayn insists on singing in this really off falsetto for a good deal of this song, and it just sounds really weak, and it just sounds terrible. It just sounds like he should not be singing in this register. Like, this is just not his range. However, he does it all over the track. It just sounds like pure trash, and I don't know who professionally would have advised him to sing like this, but whatever. And also, Skrillex did a remix of Travis Scott's Astroworld, and it pretty much just sounds like the original version of the sound of the song, but with a shittier bass and like some weird sound effects kind of orbiting the track at certain points. Eventually he changes the beat up deeper into the song, but it's one of the most pointless and annoying remixes I think I've ever had the pleasure of hearing. So let's get into the tracks that I thought were meh. Not blowing me away, but not terrible. Certainly worth your attention. Let's give them a shot. First, Decemberists are back, traveling on, brand new single. Believe it or not, even though this is not in the best section, I think this is one of the Decemberists' better singles in a while. Kind of reminded me of the theatrical and charming and kind of organic instrumentation and songwriting that I used to enjoy on the group's older records, long before they went super slick and kind of dumbed their sound down a little bit. This seems like a touch of a return to form. Dig the aesthetic, dig the tune, dig the vocal performance on this track a lot. Even if you threw this song on an older Decemberists record, it wouldn't necessarily come out into the top 5 of all the songs on the album. It is a decent cut. It is a decent cut. So hopefully they kind of continue on this streak and, I don't know, stop watering their sound down. Moving on from there, The Alchemist has a new record out, and one of the big tracks, teasers, singles from it is this new collaborative cut with Earl titled E. coli. It's a pretty cool left field hip-hop instrumental. Earl, I don't think, has as good a rap performance as I'm hearing on pretty much any cut from his new album, but you know, Earl fans, you don't get a lot of material to work with anyway, so you kind of, you got to kind of take what you can get, I guess. So, you know, it's not a bad cut. Moving on from there, Saba has a brand new song out, which didn't hit me as well as his last single did, but it's still a pretty decent cut over here. Definitely nice to hear this up-and-coming rapper continue to define himself and drop more material. Moving on from there, this Australian duo, I believe their name is Kllo, K-L-L-O. I'm not sure how I pronounce it exactly, but they have a smart and a passionate new little single out titled Candid. And it's kind of a mix of very moody pop and alternative R&B. It's produced really well. The tune is nice. The vocals aren't the most distinct that I've ever heard, but it is a very moody, beautiful, nocturnal, smooth, little sad jam that I like quite a bit. Shout out to them. Shout out to them on Bandcamp. J-Rock has a brand new single out with T. Grizzley, which goes over pretty well. It's not one of the best J-Rock songs I've ever heard, but it certainly goes over much better than a lot of the goofy cuts from his last album. Win, 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 win. You know, it certainly surpasses that. Very low bar. Moving on from there, Grandaddy is back with a new song. Yeah, like usual, kind of middling, somewhat sad indie rock here from Grandaddy, but it's still pretty endearing. It's still pretty endearing. And miraculously, Cults has come out with one of the first singles of theirs that didn't strike me as obnoxious and I don't know, just nostalgia pandering. You know, the Cults has long been a duo that I've not really cared for all that much, but I found the moody instrumental and the passionate vocals on this cut to be a pretty nice change of pace. Not quite the watered down, old school, vintage vocal pop pastiche that the duo is usually known for. Definitely a maturation, if even a slight one. And also wanted to give a shout out to Armani White, a hip-hop artist that I'm only now becoming aware of, who has a smart little new single out titled Wonderful. It's attached to a pretty creative music video, kind of diving into, I guess, virality on the internet. Like the song is sort of being portrayed through a bunch of sort of like online content and YouTube screenshots and so on and so forth. Sometimes it's spliced in with live footage and performances. It's actually a really unique music video. On top of that, the instrumental is very busy and jazzy and nimble. Reminds me of Chance the Rapper a little bit in some ways, but I think Armani vocally and lyrically comes to a very different artistic conclusion than Chance does on many of his songs. Though still, I do think both of them achieve a similarly upbeat and kind of inspiring tone with their music. Moving on from there, Annie Lennox. I don't know what it is with these wonderful female singers and songwriters only really coming out of the woodwork to write and record songs for movie soundtracks, but hey, we have another instance of that. Annie Lennox, Requiem for a Private War. And it's a pretty heart-wrenching, sad, and very dramatic little ballad over here that I highly recommend that you check out if you are someone who is into very, very despondent piano song. And let's get into the tracks that I thought were the best this week. I have quite a few. You know, even the Met tracks this week were pretty decent, but the best tracks this week really, really kind of floored me. Got a lot of tracks to talk about, so you know we're really only at the tip of the iceberg here, guys. And remember, all the songs that I'm talking about are linked down below in the description box if you want to try them out, give them a shot. So, bam, let's go. You Tell Me, an art pop outfit that I am only now being made aware of, has a smart little new song out titled Water Cooler with a pretty unique instrumental palette, odd groove. Believe me, it's just a very quirky and complexly composed little pop tune with some wonderfully eclectic instrumentation and some pretty decent lead vocals as well. You know, if you do like your pop tunes to kind of have a bit of a left field instrumental vibe, give this a shot. It is a wonderful little tune. Moving on from there, C.I.A. The C.I.A. They have a new record on the way via In the Red Records. And one of you might say, who the hell is the C.I.A.? Well, the C.I.A. is a new group featuring not only Ty Segall, but also his wife. They have a new cut out titled Oblivion. And the song is essentially Ty's significant other on vocals, drum machine, and dueling like distorted bass guitars. And it's an odd mix. It's an odd mix of sounds, but it comes together really well. There's something kind of lo-fi and nasty, and almost like black metal-ish about some of the drums and some of the riffs on the track. But I love the lead vocals, the shouted, in-your-face, kind of socially charged vocals of the track are pretty hard-hitting, attention-demanding, and respect-worthy. Reminds me of just like some really old-school art punk or no wave type of shit at some points, with just how kind of out there and risky it is. So shout out to the C.I.A. Definitely looking forward to this new project over here. Steve Mason has a new song and single out via Domino Records. Admittedly, I've not really dived that deeply into Steve Mason's work, but I do love the quality songwriting mixed with some old school rock and roll riffage and instrumentation on this tune. It's got some beautiful background vocals as well. There's something very raw and organic and almost like Velvet Underground-ish about the demeanor of the track too. Moving on from there, this new song from an artist who also I was not aware of prior to this week, who goes by the name of Sneaks. Hong Kong to Amsterdam is the name of this new cut. Now, Sneaks, she has a sound and a vibe of her own. But what I will say about this track is that I caught a similar excitement off of this song as I did when I remember first having heard like MIA. Like it's got a hard-hitting, groovy dance beat, really odd lead vocals, some smart sort of international lyrics. There's just something about it that kind of reminded me of MIA, but in a way it doesn't really sound much like MIA. You know, there are some characteristics of her music conceptually that I think parallels with her music, but I think what she's doing very much sounds millennial, very much sounds of this decade. You know, there are spots of her music that sound more contemporary in terms of the rhythm choices, more contemporary in terms of the bedroom pop aesthetic that is so popular right now that I think she embodies a little bit on this track. It's a nice little dance pop tune, alternative dance pop tune, I guess is what I can label it as. I like it quite a bit, and she's certainly an artist I'm going to be trying to keep an eye on. I thought this track was really great. Moving on from there, Sharon Van Etten has graced us with yet another fantastic teaser to her forthcoming album. Not quite as electronic or, synthy as her last cut that she dropped, but Jupiter 4 is the name of this new song over here. It's much slower. It's a very powerful, heavy, dramatic ballad, and definitely looking forward to kind of seeing the artistic expansion that she's going to be undergoing on this forthcoming album. Moving on from there, Phoebe Bridgers has come out with a brand new Christmas-themed ballad. It is quite sad and moving, but still a very enjoyable cut. So shout out to her, shout out to this new song. Give it a shot, give it a shot. Christmas Song is the title. Mark Ronson, Nothing Breaks Like a Heart, featuring Miley Cyrus, miraculously. Some of you might have been aware of this cut and thought that, hey, I'm probably going to hate this song. But it's actually a wonderful pop tune. It is actually a wonderful pop tune. I will say, given the current state of things, it's not the most original because there are some elements of the track, kind of going back to that old school acoustic balladry of the 70s. There's something about it that reminds me very much of the new Lady Gaga album. It's like Mark Ronson was trying to kind of touch upon that same musical era with what he was doing with this track, but I still think it's got a great beat. It's got a great transition from the verse to the chorus. Miley Cyrus on the whole track is really compelling. I think, honestly, like when she wants to sing passionately and she wants to sell a song that has a lot of heart, her vocals do really well. I think a lot of times she does kind of sell herself short by just trying to be as out there and as ridiculous as possible. There's a wonderful recording of her doing a Dolly Parton cover. That is awesome. The performance is great. Her vocals are fantastic. It's just not very often that she is kind of allowing herself to create in that space, in that genre, in that sound. And, thankfully, she's getting an opportunity to do it now through this Mark Ronson cut, and it's quite nice. It's an epic cut. It's an epic song. It's a powerful ballad again, and enjoyed it quite a bit. And listen, because it's a single track and it's Mark Ronson, there's no real way that you can bank on, because of this track, will the rest of his next project be good? Because it's going to be all over the place. It's going to feature a bunch of different vocalists, but I can at least say that I'm enjoying this one track quite a bit, and it's gotten a lot of traffic since being uploaded too. So really liking that it's getting a warm reception. Moving on from there, Jeff Tweedy of Wilco fame has dropped a nice new little ballad that captivated me, surprisingly, despite how low-key it is. I know what it's like. Vocally and instrumentally, I wouldn't say this is one of the more special or unique tracks that I've heard from Jeff. It's got a solid structure and some cool little guitar licks in it. But really what sold me on this song was the smart and personal lyrics that Jeff lays throughout this track. I'm not going to spoil sort of what he's going for in this song conceptually. I highly recommend that you check it out for yourself, Wilco fan or not, because I do think this song is so good that it should translate to people outside of the Wilco pulpit, the Wilco choir. Iceage has a brand new single out, which I like quite a bit more than the last non-album track that they released out of nowhere. This one, Broken Hours, I can at least say has a bit more, a bit more structure to it. Even really some more structure to it in terms of, verse, chorus, so on and so forth, versus some of the very one-dimensional and repetitive cuts off the band's last album. So kind of happy to hear the band dropping a track that not only has a good performance, those animalistic vocals that we have come to enjoy from Iceage's songs up until this point, but also a track that has at least some kind of composure to the chaos that they are known for, instead of just kind of getting lost in the sauce in a way, I guess. Grimes, We Appreciate Power, featuring HANA. I gave this song a firmly positive review on the Fantano channel, a very thoroughly positive review. on a single track review there. And long story short, I love the track. It's a good song. The industrial alternative rock sound and style that this cut goes for is actually pretty awesome. And I love how Grimes is, I don't know, kind of bringing it back a little bit in a way. It does remind me of what she did off of the recent collaboration that she had with Poppy, and there was at least a few other songs on that record where Poppy was kind of pulling from the same stylistic place. But I will say, in Grimes' defense, on this new cut over here, she did kind of bring it into a little bit of a darker, more dystopian future direction with this new cut over here. There's actually a bit of a vibe I get off of this track that reminds me of that old nu metal band Orgy, that old nu metal industrial rock outfit Orgy. Give a shout out to Gesaffelstein. The French electronic music producer is back with a brand new single which hits hard. It is titled Reset. The music video is hilarious, but the song just all around has fantastic production. If I didn't say it already, great groove, sweet little synth leads, and yeah, it's just kind of a very danceable, very dark little song that feels almost apocalyptic in a way. I love how he continually drops these dance tracks, these very smart electronic music compositions that have a very dark and dystopian vibe. And Durand Jones and the Indications, a relatively new group. They have one record out. They're about to drop this one over in May of next year. Not May, March. Mix that up. So March next year, this album over here next to my head is coming out. And this group, they have an old school classic soul sound and style, which, if you guys are fans of Daptone Records and the like, you've, heard that stuff as far as the newer artists, the revivalists set of that sound. However, I will say that this new cut over here, I don't know if this is going to be the case for the rest of the record, but this new cut over here, Don't You Know, is an amazing little song. Great songwriting, great vocal performance, classic, lush, and gorgeous vintage instrumentation. I can really not say enough nice about it. If you hate anything and everything that just sounds old or is old school or trying to chase after, a vintage vibe, maybe this is not going to be for you. But if no matter what the aesthetic is, or if you enjoy, a little bit of that old school sound, you just want to hear some great, solid, fantastic vocals and songwriting, you want to hear this. You want to hear it. And I think this is the last one we're going to be talking about. No, second to last. We have Chance the Rapper over here. He's dropped 2 new tracks. You've been blessed with so much music this week. Chance the Rapper, 2 new tracks this week. One of which featured the boy, Joey Perp. That of the 2 tracks I thought was just kind of okay, but this first of the 2 cuts, Man Who Has Everything, was a pretty emotional little track about Chance just basically coming to terms with trying to be a regular guy, a family guy, a man who loves his city, but also a famous rapper trying to, I guess, kind of work his way through his fame and, in a way, kind of reject it, take a break from it, find an oasis from it, as it can, I guess, be sort of stressful and demanding to be Mr. Chance the Rapper. I sound like I'm riffing and kind of clowning the track a little bit. But still, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was a really good tune. Really good instrumental as well. Kind of warped, heavy guitars, nice, sad, somber beat. Also, Arctic Monkeys have dropped a B-side from their last full-length album. B-side, extra cut. You guys know that I'm a little on the fence with Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. It had its moments, but for the most part, I feel like Arctic Monkeys maybe should have road tested this sound a little bit more before they decided to drop it on a record, kind of fine-tune it a bit more, fine-tune the songs. However, this new cut over here, this B-side cut anyways, is one of the more solid tunes that I've heard the band write in this style. And, it works along with the kind of glitzy, swanky, dramatic, slowly delivered, kind of cerebral, luxurious pop and rock style that they've been going for. It just kind of feels like a weird, surreal version of what you might have caught on a Las Vegas strip music stage show in like the 50s or 60s or something, or rather the 60s or the 70s, I guess. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the direction Arctic Monkeys have been going in with this sound, because if you do, here's more of it. And at the end of the day, I think it's ultimately a solid tune, regardless of the style and the branding the band has kind of given their sound here. And that is the weekly track roundup, everybody. Thank you very much for watching and making it through this somewhat lengthier version of the series. But hey, we had a lot of songs to get through. I want to give a shout out one more time to my boy Joran Kull. Hit up that 179 Days of Christmas video to get in the holiday spirit. See if you can make it through all 9 magical hours of this masterpiece, this holiday masterpiece over here. And we will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. More reviews coming soon as usual. Anthony Fantano, weekly track roundup forever.